Okay, good evening, everyone. I would like you to switch on your video cameras. Okay, how you all doing? Everyone good? Okay, great, fine. So today, what I thought is that I will first of all discuss like how we are going to, proceed with our materials going forward, how we are going to study. Okay, and then after that, what we'll do is we will discuss like a particular kind of like solving the paras. Okay, then of course we will do our usual question answer with the passages. So I feel that some of you all find that when I give the passages on the screen for the very first time, some of you are using mobile phones, or it's not very clear even if you are using laptops, things like that. So do you face this problem, like when I present something, when I share the screen, are you able to read it properly?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Like I
You
am
can
able
read
to.
it clearly. Are you all using phones or you all are using laptops?
I'm using
I'm
laptop.
using laptop.
So the
Laptop.
ones who are using laptop are able to read it clearly. The ones who are using phones, probably they are facing some problems. Okay. Now, some of the students have requested to share the worksheets before the class, maybe a day before the class, without the answers, obviously. The answers would then be discussed, the passage and the question and the answer would be discussed in class. So, in that case, what do you all feel? Would it be more effective for you to read the passage for the first time inside the class? Or would you prefer that I give the materials to you one day in advance and then you solve it on your own and then come to class and then discuss? What would be better for you
So inside the class, I think.
inside the
Yeah,
class?
So
Okay.
because in
inside
that
class.
also we will also have on the spot only.
Yeah. Okay. So Ashank feels inside the class. What about others?
I
I
think
agree with Ashank.
Okay.
I
So
think
it's unanimously those people who are able to read the question on the screen, they prefer to have it for the first time inside the class. And definitely there might be some people who are watching on mobile phones and things like that, who are not able to read it very clearly, and that is why they would prefer it was provided beforehand. Maybe in that case what I can do is I can share it alongside, so maybe you can open up the PDF on your phone and read it. PDF, I think, is pretty easy to read on the phone. Okay, something like that we can discuss. All right. Okay, especially if we are teaching material which is like freely available on the internet, so then that definitely we can share PDFs. For material which is like, of course, like created personally by us, that also I don't mind, because ultimately it will end up on the Telegram channels anyway. No matter how much you protect it with copyrights, it's going to end up in the files of all the Telegram channels, not only one but all. Okay, so fine. Personally, I also agree, okay, that materials should be discussed inside the class. If you are going to read the materials in your own convenience, at your own place, and solve them at your own convenience, then you might as well just look at the rationale in given in that particular thing, right? Why are you coming to class? You are coming to class because it's a very interactive kind of a session, right? So if I gave you like suppose in GK, if I gave you all the questions, you will just Google it and then come to class the next day, right? I agree. So fine, let us continue like this, and we will find some way in which we can give the students who don't have access to laptops, who are using mobile phones or something, somehow they should be able to do it. Of course, considering that even NLAT was taken on mobile phone by many people, isn't it? So if you have to, you have to. So let's see how we go about it. Okay. Now, having discussed that part, the other thing which I wanted to discuss is that how to actually answer a passage. Okay, this is something very, very important for all of you. And I want all of you to understand this carefully. If I've already explained this before, you let me know. Okay. But basically, in the new pattern of CLAT that you all are going to attempt now, it is all about English comprehension, right? Very, very simple. So everything, you have to basically do the same thing, that is read a passage. That passage is usually going to be editorial from a newspaper. If it is English language, it might be some novel from time to time. But usually, even in English, we find it is editorials only. Okay. So these are opinion based pieces, right? My opinion can be different from your opinion. Okay, so first of all, what you have to remember is that there is only certain number of questions that can come from any given subject. Okay, like for example, if you take English, what are the questions that usually come? What is the main point of the author? Which of the following is the author likely to agree with? Then like what is a word meaning? What does this phrase mean? Like this. Why, like suppose like the curtains are blue, why are the curtains described as blue? Something like this, like very descriptive kind of questions. Similarly, in legal you will have questions like is he guilty, is she guilty, has he violated the law, will she succeed in the case that she has filed? These are the broad questions you can be asked, right? You will be given a problem and then they will ask like, is she in violation of the law, stuff like this. Okay, in logical, strengthen the argument, weaken the argument, inference, assumption, conclusion, analogy. That's it. Mathematics, what is there? It's simply DI. Okay, you have got your pie chart, bar graph, line graph, data table, caselet, finished. That's it. Okay, and GK, I have mentioned earlier also, there are three types. First of all, the one which is direct, isn't it? Direct question. Who is the president of France? Okay. Then it could be something which is related to the topic but not directly on the topic. Okay, so then you could ask like, who gifted the Statue of Liberty to America? Answer is France. Instead of asking like, who is the president of France, you ask something about France. Okay, that's like beating around the bush. And then another type is logical reasoning. Why did France give the Statue of Liberty to America? Because it wanted to kind of broker peace between the two nations and stuff, that kind of answer. That's it. So I'll give you an example from the sample papers. First of all, they had asked when the hot topic or the current affairs topic was about Abhijit Banerjee winning the Nobel Prize, isn't it? So the question they asked was, who was arrested during his university days? With the answer Abhijit Banerjee. They didn't ask directly who won the economics Nobel Prize. Then something around the topic. Who refused the Nobel Prize? It's about Nobel Prize, but not directly. Okay. And recently we saw a question like, why did Donald Trump broker the peace between UAE and Israel? With the answer, to strengthen his hold on the presidential elections, isn't it? So these are the type of questions you will get in GK. Okay. So if you just remember that there is a finite number of questions that can be asked, then you can yourself start asking those questions. Instead of waiting for a worksheet to be provided to you with those same 5 questions, you can also ask yourself those questions every time you read a worksheet. Okay. Secondly, what kind of answers are you expected to provide? Okay. What I mean by what kind of answers are you expected to provide, I mean to say that suppose there is one article which has a very particular view. Okay, like for example, the article says that red is the best color according to the author of the article. Okay, you hate the color red. Okay, it's your worst color. According to you, blue is the best color and red is the absolutely the worst color. Like any other color you will choose except red. Okay, now the question comes, which is the best color? What is the answer?
Red.
Red.
It is red. Obviously, it is red. Your opinion doesn't matter. They are more concerned with how much you are comprehending the author's opinion, not your own opinion, the author's opinion. So it's not that complicated. It's like kind of leave your brain at home kind of a thing. Your opinion doesn't matter. Come over here, see what the author is saying, and answer questions based on what the author is saying. That's it. As simple as that. Okay. Now, how to do this? How to study on a day-to-day basis? How do I spend my 10 hours a day? Okay. First of all, read the newspaper, even for GK, especially for GK. Don't read all those like snippets from here and there and one editorial here and one GK list there. It's unnecessary. If you read the paper, and I mean the whole paper, like all 20 pages of it, and 2 papers, one financial and one non-financial paper, okay, you can't run away from it. If a bull is attacking you, you can't like close your eyes and think, oh, The bull is not attacking me. The bull is attacking you. You are going to get financial related questions in the exam. Like you got FDI, you got Forex, you got many different kind of questions this time in the CLAT exam. And that you will only be able to answer if you are reading the financial papers. Sir, I am taking 4 hours to read a paper. So how does it matter? Does it mean that you don't read the paper? Or does it mean that you keep reading it until you are able to do it in half an hour, 1 hour? Right. And more so ever, the editorials. When you are reading the editorials, just think of it like this. This is the passage. Okay. And first make English questions out of it. What is the author trying to say? Okay. Can I think of something that will strengthen the argument of the author? Can I draw an analogy with what the author is saying with something else? Okay. Like that. You have to start thinking of questions on your own. Okay, instead of waiting for a passage to be given to you and different questions being asked to you on each subject, right? Because what's going to happen otherwise? You are going to get a separate passage in every class, and you are going to get set of 5 questions attached to it depending on which subject it is. That is fine because you are going to attend class for 1.5 hours. But what are you going to do for rest of the day? You must frame your own questions. And I'm not saying go and get material from other places. You can go to all the Telegram channels and get all the materials you like Grandmaster Box and Manthan 2.0 and every kind of material you can get from anywhere. There's no harm in that. But ultimately, self-effort is the most important thing. Okay, read the paper, try and make your own questions. Okay, and that brings me to NLAT. Okay, NLAT was exactly this only. NLAT basically took one passage and asked every kind of subject questions after it. So, in fact, NLAT is the best practice for your CLAT exam. You understand? In order to become master of CLAT, you have to become master of NLAT. Okay. So, today we are going to solve few passages as usual. But the first passage we will solve is something which, I had actually made before even NLAT was announced. Okay, and coincidentally, because I was trying to show this point only to students, that certain number of questions are there, etc., etc. And turns out NLAT was brought about in this pattern soon after. Okay, so I don't know if you all have seen this passage before, but I want to ask you all, now that 2020 is wrapping up finally, Spotify is like, bringing out these like the year in review kind of things, with the best songs of the year and stuff, right? So according to you all, which is the best song of this year of 2020? Huh?
So it's a song called My Name is Corona by Naveed Richard.
My name is Karuna. Okay, that's a good one. All right. So I feel that the best song this year was one song called Rasode Mein Kaun Tha, isn't it? The Rashi song. So when that came out, I made a passage on it because just to show you that you can make a passage out of anything. So making a passage out of editorial of newspaper should not be a problem if I can make a passage out of Rashi. Okay. So have you all done this passage earlier? Any of you? No. Okay. Fine. Then let's start with somebody reading out. Who's going to read out? Sorry, who is reading out? Raise your hand. Come on, somebody volunteer. There are only 4-5 of you. Why are you so shy? Go ahead, Ashank. Why are you all feeling so shy? I don't understand. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Uh, Livid, Kokila Bain demanded some information from her daughter-in-law Gopi Bahu. Kokila Bain asked yesterday when some juice had spilled on my sari and I had gone to shower again. You had put the cooker on the gas and then had come to see me. At that time, who was in the kitchen? Was it me? Was it you? Who was it? Frightened, cowering Gopi Bahu admitted it was Rashi Bain. Enraged Kokila Bain accused it was this Rashi who took the cooker off the gas and removed the chickpeas being cooked in it, and then placed the now empty cooker on the gas.
Okay. Did you enjoy that little
Yes, sir.
passage? Right. So basically, you can make a passage out of anything. Okay. So this is a passage out of Rashi Ben. Okay. So let's start with legal reasoning. What kind of legal reasoning question can I make out of it? Right. Because ultimately, you have to start thinking in this manner. Whenever you are reading a passage, you have to start thinking from all the different angles: legal, logical, English, GK, stuff like this. Okay. So, fine. First question, who wants to answer? And just don't feel shy, please, for God's sake.
Option
I
C.
think it's C.
Yes, Shantanu. Shantanu feels it is C. Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't answer. It was Pranshu answered. I just raised my hand.
Okay. Pranshu feels it is C. All right. Fine. Next. We will answer all of them together at the last. Okay. Second.
I think it's D.
You think it's D.
Yes, sir.
Sir, B.
B.
Yes, sir.
D.
So D.
D. What are the reasons for your answers? What does it mean? Like, whatever you all have said, just explain to me why. Who has said what?
So I said D. John.
Okay. B. Why B?
So I said D. D.
D. Why D?
Because Gopi Bahu did not give any really good reasons or evidence for it was Rashi Ben.
I said D because Gopi went back to, what was his name? Kokila Ben, who was in the shower. So Gopi Ben couldn't have seen Rashi Ben putting the empty cooker on the gas.
Okay.
So that's why I think it's D.
So both of you are saying D, is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Fine. Next one.
Option A.
Option A, sir.
Option A. Okay. Next.
Option A.
Yes, sir. Option A.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Fine. So first, let us discuss the legal reasoning part of it. Okay. Now, first question. I think it's very clear. Audi alteram partem means here the other side. Okay. Audi means like auditorium, like that, audio visual. So it relates to the hearing. Alteram means alternate, the other side, the other person, and partem means party. So basically, here the other side, here the other party, isn't it? Now, is Rashi guilty? Of course, you cannot say no either, but you can say she's not. You cannot say she's not guilty. You understand? But you can say that you can't say for sure that she's guilty. And why? Because there has not been any audi alteram partem. Okay, the other side has not been heard. As simple as that. Next, see here, this is what I meant by saying that don't answer according to yourself, answer according to what the examiner is trying to ask from you. Okay, so the question over here was that who was it? This was the question. Who was it? And Gopi Bahu said it was Rashi. Okay. And on that simple basis, the Kokila Ben kind of like accepted the fact that it is Rashi. You see, so over here, I'm not asking you in the manner of like if this matter went to court, who is liable and all. I'm asking is basically is Rashi liable of being in the kitchen? In that way, if you look, then the only person who has seen and who has stated that who was in the kitchen, that was Rashi. On that basis, Kokila Ben has arrived at the decision that Rashi was in fact in the kitchen. Okay, in that manner. So the person who is setting the paper, you have to think like that also sometimes. In fact, always. Okay, because if you see, the question is clearly wanting to ask conviction can occur on testimony of sole eyewitness provided they are credible, and the next question is saying that Gopi Ben had amnesia, she is not credible. That means that in the earlier one she was credible, and it was. So you have to apply your brain a little bit like this also. Okay, don't just think laterally. If you see the next question, and then next question is a follow-up from the previous one, okay, then obviously the first one has to be answered in a certain way. It has to logically follow. Now the question is saying if she's suffering from amnesia, is Rashi guilty? No, because Gopi Ben is not a credible witness. That information has been provided to you. That means in the previous question, she had been taken to be a credible witness. Right? And finally, Kokila Ben checked the CCTV footage and everything was fine, but I mean, the action that she took, she dragged her by the hair and kicked her out of the house. Rashi filed a complaint for assault and battery. It is a principle of law that using force in private defense is okay. Okay, so basically, if Kokila Ben had been defending her private property or herself, then she would have been justified in using force. Okay, but here there was no immediate danger of this nature which would justify using that kind of force. So the exception will not apply. And the answer will be what? What will the answer be?
A.
Yes, absolutely. She was guilty because she used force against Rashi. The defense will not apply. Okay. Now, current affairs. Can you all think of some current affairs in relation to this topic? No. No current affairs. Okay. Well, first of all, it's a TV serial. Second of all, um, it's relating to domestic violence issues. Okay. There are so many things you can actually relate it to if you just think about it. So, in some TV serials, the TV serial Fauji marked which actor's debut? Do you know? This is an easy one.
Shah Rukh Khan.
Shahrukh
This
Khan.
everyone knows. This everyone knows. Huh? Which is the longest running episodic television show in the world? Do you know? It's not Ramayan.
So is it the Simpsons?
Tarak Mehta ka Ulta Chashma maybe.
Yeah, it is The Simpsons. Good.
The Simpsons.
It is The Simpsons. Very good. Okay. Which TV serial recently set a world record by becoming the highest viewed entertainment program globally?
So is it Friends?
Okay. This one you Jumping the shark is an expression coined in relation to which TV serial? You won't know this. This is Happy Days. Basically, jumping, like there was a character in that show which used to do very, very crazy things in every episode, something more and more absurd. And one day he was like skiing and he jumped over a shark. So at this point, people were like, what is this nonsense? And they stopped watching that show. So that is called jumping the shark. When something becomes like too much, then people lose interest after a point, right? This kind of thing we can never happen with Salman Khan, because no matter what kind of things he does on screen, people will always remain his fan, and same thing will apply to Rajnikant also, isn't it? So that's the thing. And on July 20th, 1969, about 20% of the world's population, okay, billions of people, watched which event on television?
Apollo 5.
The landing on the moon, exactly. Right. So many questions have come out of just one TV serial topic. Think about the different kind of topics that you can think and the different kind of questions that you can arrive at in your mind. Right? Self effort is the most important. Trust me. Like I can give you material, other coachings can give you material, but nothing can beat the material you create in your own head with your own study, because that will go the deepest, because it is a creation of your own mind, isn't it? Okay. English language. I have not bothered to give options because you can make the correct answer into a option yourself. Okay. Why was Gopi Bahu frightened? Very simple. Why was she frightened? Come on. Such a simple question.
Kokila Ben was angry.
Yeah, simple. Why was she frightened? Because Kokila Ben was angry. Then why was Kokila Ben upset?
Because there was juice on her sari.
First of all. Second of all, somebody had left an empty pressure cooker on the gas. Right. Supported by Gopi Bahu's testimony, Kokila Ben accused Rashi of what?
Sabotage.
Sabotage.
Sabotage. Exactly. Now find out what the other words also mean. Make a sentence out of them. You understand? Like, I'm not telling you do that right now. I'm telling you this is how you need to do in order to do well in this exam. You need to get into the details and just thrash it out. Because if you don't, then you will not make it. Okay. Don't bother about it. And don't think like it's taking me 4 hours, 5 hours, 10 hours to do this. Doesn't matter. What else are you doing? Right. This is the correct way to study. Okay. Now, next question. What is the meaning of the word livid? See, over here the word livid is given. First word is given, livid.
Furious.
Angry.
Yeah, furious, angry. And what is the meaning of the word cowering? A cowering Gopi Ben.
Looking scared.
Cowering means like looking scared, hiding in a corner. Like, when you are about to
Being
hit.
timid.
Yeah, if you raise your hand to threaten a child that, oh, I will slap you if you don't eat your vegetables, then the child starts cowering. Okay, I will eat it. Right? That is the meaning of the word cowering. Okay, somebody who is very, very scared. Okay. The author is most likely to agree with which of the following?
So
There are
A.
4. What are these called?
Proverb.
In Hindi, we call it muhavra, isn't it? We call it muhavra. In English, you can call it like sayings, right? Or
Proverbs.
phrases.
Proverbs.
Yeah? If they were Latin, then you can call them maxims, right? In science, we call them axioms, right? This kind of thing. Okay. Too many cooks spoil the broth. What does it mean?
And everyone starts giving their own ideas and their own views about something and how to approach towards something.
Right.
Yeah.
Only one person can cook a meal, right? If 5 people start cooking the meal, the food will not be correct, because too many cooks spoil the broth. If we are making broth means soup. Okay, if you don't know a word, Google it. Broth means soup. So if 5 of us are making the same soup, it will not be good, because somebody will add salt, someone will add pepper, it will go all wrong, right? And another phrase is many hands make light work. What does that mean?
Unity make the work easy.
Yeah. Don't you think it's like opposite? On one hand, you are saying too many cooks spoil the broth. On the other hand, you are saying that many hands make light work, right? Things become easier if more people are there, right? You play with fire, you get burnt. That's obvious. And morning shows the day. What does it mean?
So it's like the way a morning plays out, it kind of shows us how a day is going to go.
Yeah,
We have a bad morning,
exactly.
we have a bad
The thing which happens in the morning, that's how the day is going to be. If in the morning, while getting out of bed, you hit your toe, then the whole day is going to be bad. Like that. Okay. And if you wake up in morning and you see you have got a text from your girlfriend or boyfriend, then whole day is going to go good. isn't it? So, which one of these do you think is the correct option?
Option C.
Yeah, option C. You play with fire, you get burnt. Because why is it the correct answer?
The fire means Kokila Ben, I think so.
Yeah, because Rashi, or you can say the thing which Rashi did was a very risky thing, or like why she did that, we don't know. But we know that she was doing something very, very dangerous, like leaving something on fire and all. And like not only the act itself was dangerous, but like playing this kind of game, leaving a empty vessel on fire so it will explode and all. These are very, very dirty games that she was playing. And of course, if you try to play these kind of games, you can get caught, isn't it? So that's what happened. Fine. So you made so many questions out of legal, GK, English, and now let us look at logical also. Okay, here you go.
So option B.
B.
D, sir.
Option
D, D.
D. D or B?
Sir, B. B for ball.
B for ball. Okay. So Kokila Ben is a senior lady of the household. The way she is behaving, it is clear that she is the senior lady. You can just understand that from the way two people are talking. Like, okay, it's time to eat your food now. You have played enough. Now come and eat your food and do your homework. What does it mean? Who is talking to who? From this, who is talking to who?
Mother to child.
Father or mother to the child. The way of talking only makes it implicit. Okay. Now, placing an empty cooker on gas is not a good idea. That is the whole point of it. Like that much you are supposed to understand for yourself. Okay, if you have made it to the level of giving CLAT exam, you would have not made it if you did not know this by now. Okay. Gopi when was extremely scared, obviously that's why she was cowering. Yeah, this don't need to be said. But Kokila Ben is an angry person by nature. You cannot assume this just because at one instance she shouted at somebody for a justified reason. If somebody leaves the pressure cooker on the gas without anything inside it, it is bound to make a person angry, right? So you cannot say that they're angry. You cannot generalize just because of one isolated incident. That is why answer is B. Okay, the best way to identify an assumption in a passage, how do I know that this is an assumption? The way is that's why this test. Okay, if you can answer that's why this, that means it's an assumption. Like for example, Kokila Ben is the senior lady of the household. That's why she's talking to the people in a very senior manner, isn't it? Placing an empty cooker on gas is not a good idea. That's why Kokila Ben got so angry when she did that. Gopi Ben was extremely scared. That's why she was cowering in the corner. Kokila Ben is an angry person by nature. That's why she shouted at Rashi. No. Rashi put the thing on the fire. That's why she shouted at Rashi. Not because she's an angry person by nature. So it did not pass the that's why this test. You got it? If you ever want to identify what is an assumption, you can apply the that's why this test. Like if that option gives you an explanation for something which has happened in the passage, then it is a correct assumption. Okay. Fine. Next, conclusion. So which of the following may be concluded?
A.
Absolutely. A is obvious because she just attacked her directly and said like, listen, you are this, you are that, like finished. But Gopi Ben is a snitch. It's not, it's just like the first one. You cannot say that Kokila Ben is angry person. Similarly, you cannot say that Gopi Ben is a snitch. You cannot label people based on one isolated incident. Okay. Kokila's Ben acquisition has gone viral is true. That's why we are doing this passage even after months. Right. The cooker without the chickpeas exploded. This you cannot say for sure. It might still be on the fire. You never know. You cannot say this for nowhere in the passage is written this. Okay, so you cannot conclude. Okay, but Rashi Ben is in big trouble. That we definitely know. Okay, like if you all watch Russell Peters, do you all watch Russell Peters? No one. Russell Peters is this very famous comedian, Indian
Indian American.
comedian guy.
Just, just watch this Amazon Prime special. Only that.
Yeah. So his most famous joke ends with somebody's going to get a hurt real bad. Okay, that's his most famous line. And Rashi Ben is in big trouble. This option is very similar to that, catchphrase. Somebody's going to get a hurt real bad. That's what is going to happen to Rashi Ben. Okay. Now, the last question in this series, in this passage, which of the following is analogous to the factual matrix given in the passage? You know what analogous means, right? You have to make a comparison.
So D.
Yes, sir.
D.
Yes,
It is
sir.
the same way when Rashi Ben's misbehavior was caught, she was punished. Similarly, when Harry's misbehavior had been caught, he was punished. And in both cases, the relative of the person had complained against that person. Right? Very, very clear. Okay. The others are not relevant. Okay. The others are confusing. The others seem to be very relevant, but they are not relevant. Okay. Fine. Good. So, how did you enjoy that exercise?
It was fun, sir.
It was fun. It made sense to you.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, remember, you have to do this all the time with yourself. Everything you read, everywhere you go, you are 24/7 on CLAT duty now. Okay. Till the exam. 24/7 on CLAT duty. Anywhere you look, anything you read, you see something. Okay, what is the author trying to say? How can I weaken the argument? How can I strengthen the argument? What is the analogy I can make out of it? Let me find some GK related to it. Like this. Don't wait ki, oh, today's logical class. Today, sir will give 4 passages of logical reasoning in which we have to find one analogy and one assumption. No. Do it every day with the newspapers. And don't run away from financial news, because it is going to catch up with you. It's like running away from your shadow. There was one person who ran away from his shadow, and everywhere he went, his shadow obviously followed. Right? Finally, what he did, he went and he got tired and he sat in the shade of a tree, and he found the shadow has disappeared. So, for you, the tree is the newspaper. If you just go and sit down and read it, it's not that complicated, it's not that hard. And that fear and that ghost and that goblin of financial news will disappear. Okay. So now let us get back to our regular programming. Okay, let's do a few normal legal reasoning passages. Okay. Ready? Ready or not?
Ready, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, be a little alive. Okay, come on. It's not that hard. It's very, very easy. You just have to pay a little bit of attention. That's all. Just a second. Okay, today again I've got some interesting passages for you. Some of them are based on criminal law. Okay, and don't worry, I'm teaching these to you directly, but we will also have a special class of legal every week because Ilsa ma'am has agreed to teach us legal reasoning separately in the form of legal knowledge. So, contract, criminal law, constitutional law, these kind of things she will deal with separately as well. Okay, so don't worry about that. Right now, try and focus on these questions. And who wants to read, please raise your hand. And please don't, feel shy about all these things. Okay, Shantanu, read.
Passage 18. Culpable homicides
You
and
could have
murder.
raised your hand in the first place, instead of me calling out to you one by one. You all can just raise your hand. Don't feel shy about it. You know how to read, na?
Yeah, okay. Murder and culpable homicides are two offenses under the Indian Penal Code, the distinction between which has always been perplexing to the law students. Whoever causes death by doing an act with, number one, the intention of causing death, number two, causing such bodily injury as the offender knows is likely to cause the death of the person. Number three, intentionally causing a bodily injury which is sufficient to cause death. Number four, doing an act with knowledge that is so imminently dangerous and in all probability and in all probability causes death. So please scroll. The question is when the death of man is to be treated as culpable homicide or murder under IPC, culpable detonates the blameworthy state of mind, and homicides refers to killing a person. Thus, culpable homicides refers to taking the life of another person where the act has been done with criminal intent. There's a thin difference between murder and culpable homicide. The difference between murder and culpable homicide is only of intention to commit murder. If if A kills B and A had no intention to kill, then the crime is said to be committed under Section 299, that is culpable homicide. And if A had an intention to kill, by then the crime is said to have been committed under Section 300, that is murder. In culpable homicide, the offender must have the intention of causing such bodily harm which is likely to cause death. In murder, the offender must know that his action will cause death or the bodily injury will be sufficient in the ordinary course of nature to cause death. For example, suppose the offender has used the sharp weapon and struck on the vital part of the body. Naturally, the injury is sufficient to cause death, and the offender had the knowledge that his act is in imminent danger. In all probability, death is bound to occur. This kind of death is called murder. On the other hand, where the blunt and hard weapon like stick and stones are used and injuries are caused in the hard part of body, that is likely rather than probable, and therefore it's culpable homicide and not murder.
Okay, so if you all have a problem in understanding what is written over there or reading it, if somebody is reading it aloud, then just mute your microphone. Right, read it yourself, no problem. Okay, now anyone can explain to me basically what is the difference between murder and culpable homicide in one word? In one word, can you explain?
According to passage,
Yeah, according to
sir,
yourself, basically.
according to passage, in murder there should be an intention to commit
Very
murder,
good. Very,
and
very good, Ashank. The only one word which is difference is intention. If I slap you and you died because you had some neck injury, which, like, if just by touching your face also you can die, I had no intention to kill you.
yes, sir.
So that cannot be murder. That's why when Salman Khan ran over that person sleeping in the road, that cannot be called murder because he did not intend to kill that person. Definitely, you can call it culpable homicide because the person died. You did kill someone, but you did not do it intentionally. And that makes all the difference. Right? So that is what the passage is saying very, very simply. And I think it is clear. Let us jump to the questions. Okay? Now, and please don't make me call you and say that you tell me the answer, you tell me the answer. Just raise your hands and I will ask you one by one. Okay, Shantanu.
So option A, murder.
Everyone agrees? Very, very simple.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, he had the intention, he shot him, he died, murder. Next. What is it?
So murder.
Murder.
All of you say murder. Huh?
Yes.
Good. Raghav is guilty of murder. The blow might not have been sufficient. Means it now the intention doesn't matter that, like, if in the same example, if I know that one slap will cause death, okay, and I simply want to kind of slap you. I don't want to cause your death, but I slap you and obviously you will die. So if I knew that you have this problem from beforehand, then I could have avoided that. Now, my intention to just slap you doesn't matter because my knowledge that it will kill you should precede my intention, right? Simple as that, because you don't have the defense that I didn't know. Now, if Salman Khan knows that there is like a slum area over here where people are sleeping on the road, and there he goes and drives his car, then like he cannot take the defense that, oh, I did not know. Are you know people are sleeping here right now. People are sleeping here every day. You are going and running over that place. Obviously, they will die. Right. In this case, someone happened to be sleeping there. Nobody knew that that person would be sleeping there by chance. Right. Suppose it's like Shaheen Bagh, where people are protesting. You take a car and you go over there. You say, oh, I did not know. Of course, you know that there's a protest going on. Farmers' protest is going on. You go and drive a car over there, and then you say, I didn't know. No, you did know. You can't say that. Okay. Next. Sorry. Yeah. Yes, Shantanu?
Again murder.
Again, murder. Others?
Murder.
Murder, sir.
Murder.
Murder. Very, very simple, very, very clear. Okay? No confusion. Yes.
So murder.
Murder. Murder. Everyone murder. Good. See, you don't have to have the intention to kill somebody in particular. Okay. But if you are firing a cannon into the crowd, it is reasonably assumed that you will hit someone and you will kill someone, and that person you will be liable for their murder. It will be a miracle if you don't hit somebody. Then also it will be attempt to murder of unknown people, probably. Right?
So can I ask a doubt?
Yeah.
So if this guy was using a gun and he was trying to hunt an animal, and the animal ran into a public space, and he tries to shoot the animal but kills another guy that was standing there, is that murder or
No,
culpable
that's
homicide?
obviously not murder, na? Because he did not have the intention to kill that person. You see. But
So,
if he had gone
but
into
he
the
knew that if
no,
he knew that it was a public space, right?
that matters. Like at what point? By chance, the animal went and like he just chasing it, he shot, or like the animal was like nicely in the market and he went and he shot at the animal in the market. There's a difference, right? If you're saying like in a crowded market, there was an animal and he was trying to shoot it, then it's a very strange situation, right? Then he should not have shot. But suppose he was chasing the animal and by mistake he struck somebody, it's not murder. Okay,
Yes, okay.
you understand, right? The
Yes, sir.
situation, you see, you have to be reasonable. The only thing about law is common sense. Now, obviously, if he's standing in a market and shooting, naturally it will hit somebody. It's most likely to hit somebody. So again, knowledge precedes intention, right? If you knew that like somebody has an injury and still you slap them, that is murder. Similarly, if you know it's a crowded market and still you are shooting, it's the same as cannonball. What's the difference? Right? Okay. Now it's a bit of legal.
Stalking.
Stalking.
Right now, this is bit of legal knowledge also and bit of English language also. Right, you should know English language and you should know legal also, both. Right, good. You all have done this passage quite quickly and quite well. Okay, next. Who wants to read, or again I should select? Fine. Priyanshu it is this time. And next it will be John, because I think Ashank has already read, isn't it?
Article 19, Clause 1, Subclause C of the Constitution of India guarantees to all its citizens the right to form associations and unions or cooperative societies. This fundamental right to freedom of association includes the right to form an association and the right not to join an association. It also includes the right to decide with whom to associate. The right has a very wide and varied scope, including all sorts of associations, that is, political parties, clubs, societies, companies, organization, entrepreneurships, trade unions, etc. However, it is not an absolute right and has some restrictions. Under Clause 4 of Article 19, the state may by law impose reasonable restriction on this right in the interest of public order or morality or the sovereignty and integrity of India. The right does not extend to every citizen in the same measure. The government servant being bound by service rules cannot enjoy unrestricted rights to join association. The right to freedom of association does not carry the right to recognition, right to strike, and right to inform the rival union. It is also necessary to keep in mind that fundamental rights are applicable to laws made by or administrative actions of the state and do not apply to the actions of private functions. Any law in contravent of fundamental rights is unconstitutional and therefore cannot bind any person.
Okay, so what did you understand from this passage?
The
Article 9.
passage, the passage talks about the right to form associations and its restrictions.
Huh. Right to form associations. Last time, we were discussing farmers' protest, wasn't it? So,
Yeah.
uh, you know, if there's some kind of farmer protest, what's the need for that? If you have some problem with the law which has been passed by the parliament, then what is the correct way to challenge that in a court of law?
Yeah.
Challenge the constitutionality or the validity of that law. What is the need to create a fuss in the capital? What is the need to gather and stop the entry points and exit points and the day-to-day functioning of that city? What gives them the right? Huh? Tell me, what gives them the right to behave like this, the way they are behaving, the farmers? Do they have any right to do this?
I mean, they do have right to protest, but harming public order, no, that they don't have.
But are they harming
They
public?
have the,
Yes, they are.
they have the freedom of peaceful assemblies without arms.
Exactly. That's the answer I was looking for, Shantanu. That is also found under Article 19. It is the right to assemble peacefully without arms. That's what we had done in Jallianwala Bagh also. Okay, when we were shot dead. Right. All we were doing is protesting peacefully without arms. Without arms means without any guns. It was a peaceful protest. We were not creating a riot over there. We were not like doing a lathi charge or any kind of a attack against the government or seditious conversations or blasphemy or contempt or anything. So the right to assemble peacefully without arms is enshrined in Article 19 of our Constitution. Similarly, is the right to form associations. Okay, just like we discussed that the right to assemble peacefully is also subject to the restrictions, like it should be not against the public order, decency or morality, things like this. Okay, so you can't like gather over there and start drinking and creating a scene over there, right? You can't start like stopping the traffic and beating up people and things like that, right? Similarly, you cannot even form associations which are against public order, morality, sovereignty, or integrity. You can't form an association to kill the president of India. Okay, something which has an illegal object like gambling, okay, smuggling, okay, crime, okay, these kind of things you cannot form an association for. Obviously, it's very, very common sense. Now, obviously, the same right cannot be extended to everybody equally, right? So, of course, there are some people who are bound by some restrictions, like IAS officers, may not be able to join any sort of clubs and associations because they're supposed to be impartial, just like judges also. Things like this. There are restrictions on few people. Okay. Remember that fundamental rights are applicable against the state and not against private persons. Okay, only against the government can you enforce the what? Fundamental right. Okay. Now, having said this, let's move to the questions one by one. Please raise your hand, then we can discuss. Okay. Yes, John.
So I think it's option B, because the passage says that it gives the right not to join association to the bearer too.
Okay. Anyone else?
So I
Yes,
think
John.
option C, because the firm is a private firm.
It says that it's a private firm. Yeah. And so it doesn't matter. Okay. Remember, we just discussed right now. Okay. Next. Yes, Shantanu.
So option D.
Okay. Anyone else?
Option D.
B or D?
So D for
D.
Delhi.
Okay. Everyone says D.
So, but
Okay.
if it's established by the parliament, it will be actionable until it is established as unenforceable by the Supreme Court, right?
So, what's your point?
I think so. It should be A then.
Action of parliament is right as it is a law established by procedure.
But sir, like
Like,
fundamental
sir, the
rights of the
emergency that was
population should.
established.
It is not right. Nah, it is unconstitutional. The action of parliament is not right. It is a law
No,
established
sir,
by procedure. No.
it is unconstitutional. Yes, that I agree. But it
Ah.
is unenforceable. That how can we say? Like, so
Saying it's
the emergency that was
who
established
is
and the
saying it?
falling
Who is saying it's unenforceable? Who is saying that?
option D, sir. Hence unenforceable.
Okay, the law passed by parliament would be deemed violated of fundamental rights, and of course it cannot be enforced. Now, if it is violative of fundamental rights, it will be challenged in court of law, and it will be what to say, held unconstitutional. It will be and it will be voided, and therefore it will not be enforceable. You cannot force somebody. Suppose I am there. Okay, I am employed by the government. I have been employed as a whatever, some kind of uh, government trade body, okay, some kind, maybe NABARD or something like that. Okay, there is a traders union, okay, which has been formed, and I am supposed to join that union. Okay, that is called the enforcement of the law. I challenge that. And the court says yes, you don't have to join. Then how is it enforced? It is not enforceable, isn't it? You can't force me. You can't force me to do something under a unconstitutional law. So it's not enforceable. You cannot force me. Enforceable means what? You can force someone to do something. It has the force of law. This doesn't have. But very good question, Priyanshu. That's a good thinking. Okay, this is the sort of thinking that should be encouraged, right? Very good. See, requiring everyone to compulsorily join an association is thus unconstitutional and unenforceable. If something is unconstitutional, automatically it's unenforceable. Right. Okay, next.
Option D.
Option D. Anyone else?
D.
Everyone is saying D only. But if you see, where is this written exactly? Tell me.
So I read recognize it as organize.
It's not
That's
written
why.
anywhere. It is
Yeah.
not written anywhere. You are imagining this thing.
Option. Yeah. It's written in the passage that it doesn't give the right to recognize.
See, two things. First of all,
Last line.
it
So
nowhere
second
says
passage, last line.
it nowhere says that army people cannot form associations. It says a government servant cannot enjoy unrestricted rights to join association. That means it has restricted rights, and it doesn't say what are those rights. What is the restrictions? It never says that army people cannot join uh, association. Don't assume things. Okay. Second of all, the right to freedom does not carry the right to recognition. Very clearly written. Right to strike and right to inform. Basically, if I have formed an association, there is no need for the government to give me a certificate saying that okay, you have formed association or recognize association. It's not like a society or a trust. Okay, and it's clearly written over here. So keep that in mind. Okay. That's third one. Fourth one. Okay. Yeah, Shantanu. Someone was answering.
Option D. Option D, sir.
So option D. Option D.
Everyone says option D.
Yes, sir.
Okay, can someone read out the question?
Ali and Asghar, two from Kozhikode in Kerala, are wishing to join Talibani Jamaat Sangh, a conservative religious militant organization which aims to establish rule of Talibani Jamaat in the territory of India. They claim that they have been inspired by the ideology of Jamaat and believe that the rule of Jamaat can restore the glory of India. Decide. Should I read out the options also?
Yeah.
Option A, Ali and Asghar can join Talibani Jamaat as the constitution allows right to join any association or union. Option B, Ali and Asghar cannot join Jamaat as India is a secular country and joining a religious organization is contrary to the principles of secularism. Option C, Ali and Asghar can join Jamaat only if they are not government employees. Option D, Ali and Asghar have no right to join the Talibani Jamaat as the restrictions to the freedom of association apply in this case?
Okay, and what do you think is the answer? All of you?
Option D, because it goes against the sovereignty of India.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, very good. It is very clearly stated in the passage that this right to join association can be reasonably restricted in the interest of public morality or sovereignty and integrity of India. Obviously, this will not apply, or this will not. This will apply over here. So then it will be held illegal very clearly, right? No confusions there. Good. Okay. Next one.
So option C.
Option C. Okay. Option C. Anyone else? Anyone else?
Option B, I think so.
B. B and C. Anyone else?
B.
Okay, some of them are saying B, some are saying C. Well, it is C because it has been explicitly stated that right to strike is not included in freedom to join associations. Also, D cannot be the answer because it is not that government employees cannot join any organization. It's just that they don't have unrestricted rights to join the organization, just like we had discussed in the previous question also. Same thing. It's not like the army doesn't allow. It's like that, there are some restrictions and those restrictions are not clear or clearly mentioned. So we can't say. Okay. And let's do one more passage today. Okay, come on. Who wants to read? Who has not read till now? Who has not read? Ashank has read. Priyanshu has read. Shantanu, you have read. John, have you read? John, have you read?
No, sir.
Then why are you waiting for me to ask before you say? Huh?
No, sir.
Come on, read out.
The Supreme Court in the month of February 2020 upheld the 2010 Delhi High Court verdict, stating that the Narendra Modi government has to give permanent commission to women officers in the army, irrespective of the years in service. The judgment, however, does not apply to combat roles but clarifies that the women officers would be eligible for command posting as well. The court has granted the government 3 months' time to implement the order. The 2010 Delhi High Court judgment was passed by a bench comprising Justices S.K. Kaul and M.C. Garg on petitions filed in 2003 and 2006 by women officers who were granted SSC in the IAF and Army in non-combat units and who now sought permanent commission. The women officers had challenged the government's refusal to consider them for permanent commission. In March 2019, the Modi government decided to grant permanent commission to women in all 10 branches where they are inducted for short service commission. Signals, engineers, army. So I could just scroll down. Signals, engineers, army aviation, army air defense, electronics and mechanical engineers, army service corps, army ordnance corps, and intelligence, besides JAG and AEC. However, the benefit was not applicable retrospectively and thus ruled out the women officers in the job now. The court, however, noted that the government's decision only envisaged that Women officers with less than 14 years of service would be considered eligible for a grant of permanent commissions. According to the decision, women officers with more than 14 years of service but less than 20 years of service were to continue until they attained pensionable service of 20 years without the grant of permanent commission. While the court appreciated the decision, that it highlighted the fundamental fallacy in creating a distinction between women officers with less than 14 years of service and those beyond the 14-year mark. We therefore clarify that the policy decision will apply to all women SC officers who are currently in service, irrespective of the length of service which has been rendered by them. It ruled.
Okay. So basically, do you understand what this is trying to say? Can someone explain? Come on, John. You have read the passage. Tell me what it says.
So I think it talks about granting women permanent commission. I think before this order, women had only 14 years of service. After they had to retire or something, they couldn't get the permanent commission. And after this order, women could also get permanent commission.
Yeah, absolutely correct. That is exactly the fact. So you see, like this is called system of checks and balances in a democracy. Okay. Now, while the government took a very good step that they allowed the permanent commission for women in army, and I hope that you all know what we are talking about when we say permanent commission of women. Okay, they had created a difference between pre 14 years and post 14 years of service. Okay, now the job of the judiciary is to maintain a check and balance with the legislature. Okay, now judiciary said this is a great initiative. Okay, but somehow it is violating Article 14. Why? What does Article 14 say?
All citizens to
Right
be
to
treated as
equality.
Right to equality.
Equality.
So when you are making a difference, okay, there should be some kind of a rational nexus and intelligible differentia. Okay, like if you say that you make a particular reason for making a difference between people. Okay, then it is fine. But if you make a difference which doesn't actually exist, then that is not okay. Why 14 years? Why not 13 years? Why not 15 years? Why make a distinction at all? There's no need for it. Okay. So the court said that the law is good, but this part is not good, and this is called the doctrine of severability. If you can remove one bad part, like if for example you have got like a appendix operation, just the appendix is removed from the body, which is not good. Okay, similarly in this law, just remove that part which says 14 years, then the law is good. So that's what they have done over here. Okay, now let us look at the questions. Okay. Somebody read out. Shank, read it out.
The government of India did not grant a woman officer serving in Indian Air Force permanent commission. She served for 12 years and had an excellent work record. She challenged this on the court of law decide. Permanent commission will be granted to her as she has served just enough to permanently recruited. Permanent commission will not be granted to her as the verdict was for the army, not for the air force. The permanent commission will be granted to her as there is a compulsion to grant it to the woman officer if she had served not less than 12 years. The permanent commission will not be granted as she is not psychologically fit to be appointed permanently to the post.
So,
The C, I think.
anyone else?
So can you scroll up a bit? A bit more. I think so to the second passage. That's it. Okay, sir. Okay.
So, what's
Go
the
back.
answer now?
So passage doesn't talk about Indian Air Force. So option B.
It's a trick question.
It is about Army Air Force, Army Air Defense, not Indian Air Force. So
Correct.
there's a distinction between.
Army has got aircraft also. Army has got
Yeah.
pilots also. But that is part of Army. Okay. Not part of Air Force. Okay. Even the Navy has got planes. They're Navy planes also. Okay. Good. Next. Somebody read it.
Miss Vajpayee, a women officer who has served for less than 14 years in the army, was not granted permanent commission. While citing the Supreme Court judgment discussed in the passage, she claimed she should have been compulsory granted the permanent commission. Decide. Option A, her claim is correct as per the ruling of Supreme Court as referred in the passage. Option B, her claim is incorrect as the government can only consider the Supreme Court ruling. The legislative and executive will is paramount. Option C, her claim is correct but Supreme Court judgments are not enforceable. Option D, none of the above.
Hmm.
Option D, I think so.
D.
So option A.
A. Who is saying option D?
So me, Priyanshu.
Okay. Why not
Whoever
A?
So permanent commission is not granted to everyone. You have to go through an interview process and everything. So what the Supreme Court ruling said that
See,
everyone
this
should,
is
all the women
the
should be
problem.
considered for permanent service.
See, Priyanshu, this is the problem. Okay, like you are very, very correct in your argument and your thinking and your logic. But what is the examiner trying to ask here? It's a very, very restricted question. It's not that deep a question. The simple question, which the fact says, see, the examiner cannot put every detail into one question, right? The examiner is trying to check one aspect of the paragraph in one question. So if like it says that there's an exception to this, so one question will be on the main topic, one question will be on the exception. If there's a case law, one question will be about the case law. Okay.
So it's
So
actually
over
written in
here,
the passage that should be considered, not that
I
they should be
understand,
considered,
but
should be considered.
also here the main topic is that less than 14 years means the whole discussion in this topic is in this question is hinging on the 14 years aspect. That she's
But
saying why
yeah,
not
so
14
isn't
years?
it that they should be considered? It's not that it would be definitely given the permanent commission. Let me show.
Which one? Which part?
This one.
Here, the court, however, noted that the
It would be
government's
considered eligible. Passage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Would be considered eligible. Yes, sir, the second line of passage 6.
I think you are misreading it. It says that only those, so what it's saying is that according to the government's notification, only those women with
Who have
less
less than 14 years of
14 years
service
would be
should be
considered
considered.
eligible. Understood? It's like saying that only those who are above 18 years can drink, are eligible to drink, would be considered eligible to drink. Only those people above 18 years would be considered eligible to drink. Means they can drink.
Yes, sir, that's what I'm saying. She can get a permanent service, permanent commission, but it's not like compulsory from the perspective of army to give her the permanent service. She's eligible to get it.
First of all, is that a fact? Is it a fact? Do you know that for a fact?
I don't know about the, but according to the passage, that's what I mean.
That's what I'm saying. According to the passage, you are reading it wrong. Like your reading of the English is wrong over here. Okay, because it is not saying that considered eligible doesn't mean that, okay, then you fall into the category of eligibility. And then on a case to case basis, we will consider. I get what you're trying to say, but that's not what's written here. Okay, what's written here is that the government's decision only envisaged that women officers with less than 14 years of service would be considered eligible, but women with more than 14 years would not be considered eligible, whatever. Okay, so you just read this once again in your spare time. Then you will be able to understand it a little carefully. Okay, I get what you're trying to say, but that's not what's written over here. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So what's the correct answer?
Correct answer is A. Correct answer. It's a very, very simple question. The question is asking about 14 years, and the person is saying that she was not allowed, and the Supreme Court has to step in and say, no, no, it's fine. Very, very straightforward question. Okay. Okay. Next. Anyone?
So option B.
Option B. Anyone else?
Sir, A.
A. A to why A?
So because in the passage says less than 14 years or less than 14 years.
But that's the whole point of it, na? That the Supreme Court overruled that.
Okay, sir.
Isn't that the point of the passage? Like then you will say he is guilty of adultery, but adultery is no longer a crime. Suppose you did a passage on adultery, and then the question asks, is he guilty of adultery? And you say yes. But the whole point of the passage is that adultery has been legalized. Let's say you read a passage on homosexuality. What would the Supreme Court say in that passage?
That homosexual also have the equal rights.
So it's legal, homosexuality is legal. Then after the question was found that Ramesh was found in bed with Suresh, are they guilty? Then what would you say?
No.
Because Supreme Court has said it's not a crime. Over here, what has Supreme Court said about permanent commission and 14 years?
That it should be granted uh, before or after less than or at 14 years of.
Then why is your answer A? The Supreme Court has said it doesn't matter. Less than 14 years, more than 14 years, 14 years, it doesn't matter. Permanent commission has to be granted irrespective of the service. Okay.
Okay, sir.
She will be granted as the court's verdict made it mandatory. I think that answers your question as well, Priyanshu. Right? Considered eligible? No. Mandatory. Okay. Next question. No one.
Sir, I think option B, but I'm not sure.
Option B, D, but not sure. Anyone else?
B, option B, B for ball.
B for Bombay. Okay. Anyone else?
So I think option A.
Okay. Option A, B. Let's see what the answer is. The answer is in fact A, because it will not apply retrospectively. Retrospectively means from the back, right? From past days. Suppose I say that we will have class from, let's say, like from 8:30 till 10:30. So can it be from yesterday? No, right? It will be from tomorrow only. So same way they have said that only those people who are like there from future, that will apply. Now we can't start applying from like 1947, all the people who have already passed out, right? So that's why it will be for the future people. Okay. And the last question for today. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead, Shantanu. Read it out. I have revealed the answer, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah, which of the following is correct as per the information given in the passage? Option A, the Modi government's decision in the year 2019 was the first decision by any Indian government regarding grant of permanent commission to women officers in army. Option B, the verdict of Supreme Court was completely opposite to Modi's government's decision. Option C, the Supreme Court's verdict does not make a distinction in giving permanent commission to women even if the period of service was more than 14 years. Option D, none of them.
Okay. What's the answer?
Option C.
I think it's very, very clear. This is option C. Okay. Obviously, it has been mentioned that there's a fundamental fallacy according to the Supreme Court. Okay. So that's the answer. Right. So that's all for today. We will close up for the day, and we will continue with the next few classes as usual. Okay. I do want to say that I feel there's some sort of progress in you all. Okay. You all are getting better. But I feel that there has to be some amount of like self study. Okay. Because I mean, I'll come with you for 1.5 hours or 2 hours in a day. We will give you some worksheets, and so will the other teachers and everything. But there are 24 hours in a day. Rest of the time you have to do something. And what? You have to read newspaper from start to finish. Don't waste your time with monthly magazines and oh, we will take out the current affair for you and give you a compendium and this and that. Do all the materials that you get in the different coachings. Take mock test series, take materials, take worksheets, textbooks, whatever it is. Okay, read those. But most importantly, read the newspaper, read the editorials, read financial editorials, and try to make your own questions. That is what will help you the most. Try to make your own questions. Okay. Do you all have any questions for me? Anything you want to discuss? Any doubts?
So from this week onwards, we'll be having Saturday, Sunday as off, right?
Yeah, now what we will do is like we will have our normal Monday to Friday classes only, and from 7 to 8:30 p.m. only. It becomes a little confusing to have like this off and that off. In fact, we will have Monday to Saturday class, because like there will be one class for the legal knowledge also with Ilsa ma'am, because she will give you the basic ideas of all the laws which you need to know, and that is quite interesting also. It's quite necessary also to know these kind of things. Okay. So Monday to Saturday, 7 to 8:30 p.m. You will get a day off for Sunday just to relax. Okay. And apart from this, of course, there will be mock tests, and you have enough materials already. Have you all done the mock tests which I have given? The 7 mock tests?
So solved two. Like I solved one last week and one I solved.
Okay. Try to do one mock test a week at least. Okay. Try to do at least one mock test a week for now. We can increase the pace going forward, but at least 1 mock per week you have to do right now. Okay, minimum. All right. Okay. So thank you all. Have a good evening and see you all next time. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Bye bye.